So, hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so we're gonna be talking about our April champions that now have been in fact 100% confirmed. So I did actually get quite a lot of heat, and some people even thought it's funny how silly these champions are and that there is no chance that that leak was correct. But I hadn't made the video if I wasn't relatively confident that that leak could and most likely will be correct. And well, behold, that appears to be the case. Now, last night, Malcolms of Champions tweeted out this photo with basically confirming Jabari Panther coming to the contest with her mask and her claws. And also, as an additional proof, we have this upcoming motion comic coming with the Iron Man Silver Centurion, and the Jabari Princess that's gonna air in premiere in 6 days. So all that being said, it is quite safe to say that those leaks, at the very least for the upcoming champions, were in fact 100% correct. These are Marvel Realm of Legends champions, which, however, will force us into another discussion because a lot of people are very, very unhappy about it, and I have seen a lot of people mention it. And so here we go. Right, so I'll jump to a bit better screen because this looks a bit more pleasing on the eye, I believe. And now, well, first and foremost, the reason why I thought the leaks are correct, because the same type of images were appearing last month when they were leaking the Hood buff and the Civil Warrior buff, or whichever, but they did not warn us about all the buffs. So here is also a thing that it might not just be the two champions that we know about, which are Crossbones and Howard the Duck. There might be some additional champions that are getting buffed. But another good reason to suspect that these leaks, in fact, were correct was because these champions are so obscure, and nobody in a million years would randomly guess these champions. And so here we are. We're getting two new additions to the contest with Jabari Panther and Silver Centurion. With Jabari Panther meaning very little to very few people, and Silver Centurion being Iron Man number 19, it's quite safe to say that not too many people are actually pleased. And when it comes to champions being added to the game, I'll put my hand up in there and say that I don't really care. This game doesn't really care. This game doesn't care too much for Marvel source material. And if this game absolutely butchers and disgraces Sentry, if this game butchers Odin into a support character, it's cool to see your favorite champions getting added to the game, but at the very least, that's not kind of like any showcase of what they're actually going to be. For instance, for several years, I was saying that Jubilee is the champion that I wanted to see added to the contest, just because people always kept asking, and why not Jubilee's cool character? But then Jubilee was released to the contest. She's absolutely pointless, meaningless character that I don't want anything to do with, because ultimately whether I will enjoy and play the character is determined by their abilities, and Jubilee is, again, quite bad. She's quite shit. So have been almost all the champions this year. Therefore, whether it's Jabari Panther, whether it's Jubilee, or whether it's Okoye, whoever coming in, I don't particularly care for it. I care whether they are going to be good, usable champions that make impact to the metagame, which I hope they will be. Because let's face it, for instance, Sorcerer Supreme was nobody's uh, top choice for what champion to be added, but again, I'd much rather pull and use Sorcerer Supreme than Odin, for example. Why? Because Sorcerer Supreme is a good champion, and with time she grew on people, so to speak, and Odin just, well, isn't. Odin is bad right now. So is Jubilee, so on and so forth. Therefore, again, the actual abilities are much more important, I think. Now, on the other hand, obviously it is extremely frustrating, and I believe with these moves, Kabam just shows that they have very, very little respect for Marvel itself and Marvel characters. That they are pulling in these obscure champions, that they are butchering the great champions into absolute noodles, that the best champions in the game are B or C or D tier champions in the actual comics, for most part. And that is just the game we play. Whether we like it or not, it's up to Kabam to correct themselves if they want to. But there is additional fact that does irks me a bit. And I do hope, sincerely, because of this issue particularly right now, that Marvel Realm of Contest, Marvel Realm of Champions just dies. I genuinely do hope it dies. Why? Because I don't want this game to have anything to do with that game. There's a very good reason I don't play that game. It's because I'm not interested in it. It's because the graphics of it look like from 2015. It's because every single relatively objective review has absolutely destroyed that game, saying that it has pretty much the worst gear system they have ever seen in any game. The game's already becoming cash grabby and it's repetitive and there's a ton of problems, and it just isn't Marvel Contest of Champions. And that's why I'm not making videos about that game. That's why I'm making videos about Marvel Contest of Champions, because this is the game that I enjoy and I love. And again, ultimately, I am not too fussed what is the name of the champion that is getting added. Obviously, it is more exciting when Odin comes instead of Jabari Panther. But at the same time, Jabari Panther might be the better champion, right? So it's very hard to distinguish. And it's very annoying what Kabam keeps doing to these iconic Marvel characters, which is also a reason why I think Kabam is losing a ton of money right now by having and keeping OG Avengers bad champions. Like, the answer here wasn't to add Silver Centurion, the answer here was to buff OG Iron Man, because a lot of people will download this game with the idea of playing Iron Man, playing Miles Morales, or whatever comic favorites, Thor. And if these champions aren't, at the very least, competitive in the meta, a lot of people will just uninstall the game. If you are a huge Miles Morales fan, you download this game, you get Miles Morales, you're super happy only to realize that Miles Morales is a complete noodle. You'd be very, very pissed off and quite likely could potentially uninstall the game. But that is, again, a problem that probably deserves a separate video. But with these links with Marvel Realm of Champions, I just don't care for them. I just don't care for them. I think Marvel Realm of Champions is a very bad game that is struggling. And the less I have to hear or talk about that game, the better, because I actively have chosen not to play it. So, in all honesty, I do wish for that game to go bust, if not for any other reason than so this game doesn't have to do these characters. So this game doesn't have to interact with that game. But ultimately, should I and would I be like really extremely outraged again? Not really, because Kabam has time and time again absolutely broken us. By now, they have destroyed our faith in their, I don't know, links with Marvel, so to speak. Most of the great, OP, amazing characters in Marvel comics are absolute trash in this game, and therefore a lot of trash champions are great. So I personally care much more whether the champion's going to be good or bad. That's going to be ultimately how I react to these champions. The name value, unfortunately, doesn't transfer very well in this game. And that is how I personally look at it. Now, I know that there are some people that are very, very, very passionate about why these characters, why not Okoye, why not somebody else. That's perfectly fine. More power to you. I hope you guys get what you want, and I hope you guys get Kabam to add more interesting, fun characters that people actually want to see in the game. But for me personally, from very pragmatic approach, I primarily just care that these champions are good. And yeah, I think that's about it. As I said, when it comes to the reworks, now this confirmed the leaks for the upcoming champions. We still technically don't have confirmation about the reworks, but I think it's quite obvious that it is extremely likely that Crossbones and Howard the Duck are going to be the champions that get buffed. But keep in mind, there could be more. There could be an additional champion as well that's being left out of these screenshots. So it's going to be interesting to see when this information will get revealed. All in all, unfortunately, these champions hardly get you as excited for next month as like Odin and Mangog did, for example. So there is that as well. There is that to deal with, and a lot of people are just frankly disappointed with Kabam. The 2021 has been a bit of a shit show. We haven't had any single meaningful piece of content. every new champion coming into the game has been pretty much shit, with the exception of Strife. And the upcoming 2 champions are just pissing off more people. So it almost seems as if like Marvel Coins of Champions actively is trying to see how badly they can piss off most of their player base and see how much it takes for people to quit. Because there have been a lot of people taking a break, stepping down, or quitting this game. Every single stream, I get people coming in saying that they're either leaving or taking a break. And that wasn't like that. It never used to be like that for a really long time since the Dev Diaries came out. So I do think that Kabam does need to pull out a stick up their bum and start actually listening to their players and doing something to make this game feel less stale, to feel this game more active, more dynamic, more enjoyable. I know they're working on a ton of things, but they better hurry up. Yeah, that is it for now, though. Let me know what you guys think about the upcoming champions, and I'll catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about